Welcome to In 5 Minutes. The agenda of this clip is to understand the carry look-ahead adder carry chain implementation in mirror style. On the left side of your screen, I've put down the general equation for Cout, which we have also seen in the previous clips, where Ci is equal to Gi plus Pi, Ci minus 1. And I've also told you the conventions followed by different authors, but I'm going to follow this convention for my implementation of my circuits. With that, I got this as C1, this as C2, this as C3, and correspondingly this as C4. We saw all the different styles of implementation in the last clip. Now here we are going to see a mirror style of implementation. The mirror style of implementation is nothing but, in simple words, suppose if this is going to be my pull down circuit, then my pull up will also be exactly the same as my PMOSes. And these are my NMOSes, and the output would be taken from here. The input to all these four might not necessarily be the same to all these four also. Let's take an example. Suppose this is A, B bar, and this is A and B. Then here it won't be A and B bar, but one of the inputs will change. For example, if this is A, right, and this is B bar, then I can have this as A and this as B and not B bar. Similarly, here if it's B, this will be B bar and this would stay as it is. So what we need to understand is the mirror circuit ideally is a circuit where your pull up and pull down looks exactly the same, but the inputs might not be the same in pull up and pull down. And one of the inputs need to be interchanged so that the functionality is achieved. Okay, let's quickly go ahead and implement C1 in mirror style so that we understand what I'm talking. C1 is nothing but G1 plus P1 C0. We have already seen the pull down implementation. Let's quickly do that. This is my G1. This is my P1. This is my C0. So this becomes my pull down network, and I know that I get an output not C1 but C1 bar. So pull up will look exactly the same here, and I'm going to interchange my input G and P. So for an adder's carry look ahead implementation, you need to interchange your G and P in order to get the functionality. So this is my PMOS, this is my PMOS, this also is my PMOS. Now this will be P1, this will be G1, and this will be C0, and here's my output, and this is my VDD, and this is my ground. Let's quickly see one or two cases whether this works properly or not. Let's take the case when G and P both are equal to 0. That means my K is equal to 1. When K is equal to 1, we all know that my C out should be equal to 0 irrespective of my C in. So let's see if this is happening or not. So if G is 0, that means this is 0. P is also 0, so this is 0. That means P is 0, G 0. So this is off, this is off, no part for pull down. This is on, it will pull the output towards VDD. So it does not matter what the Cin is. So my C1 bar would be equal to VDD, which means that my C1 or C out in this case would be equal to 0. It is exactly what I want, and hence the functionality is achieved. Let's quickly go ahead and do it for generate equal to 0, and so is K equal to 0, and propagate equal to 1, and let's see what's happening. When propagate is equal to 1, we want our C out to be equal to C in. In this case, it should be C1 equal to C0. Let's see if we can achieve this or not. So when G is 0, that means this is 0, and P is 1, this is 1, G0, P1. This clearly says that this transistor is off, this is on. So transistor, let's name M1 is on. Let's name this as M2, this is M3, and this is M4. So transistor M1 and M3 both are on. This is getting an input 1 and this is getting an input 0. Now let's presume my C out would be 0. So if my C out is 0, my M2 is on, whereas my M4 is off. Fair enough. And because M1 and M2 are both on, so C1 would be pulled towards VDD. C1 bar would be pulled towards VDD, and that means my C1 is equal to 0. Again, my C0 was 0, so my C1 is 0 and the functionality is achieved. If my C0 would have been 1 in this case, then my M2 would have been off, whereas my M4 would have been on, M4 and M3 both on. So it pulls my output towards ground. So C1 bar would be equal to 0. That means C1 would be equal to 1, which was nothing but Cin, because Cin in this case was equal to 1. So the functionality is achieved. So we saw the two cases. The last case is nothing but when my generate is equal to 1 and my K and P both are equal to 0. So let's quickly see. So generate is equal to 1 and K and P's are zeros. So P is equal to 0. Generate 1. So this is off, remember. Propagate 0. So again, this is off. Propagate 0. So this is on. So at this point of time, what's going to happen is, let's name this M5 and M6 are on. M5 is trying to pull C out towards VDD. It is trying to take C1 bar towards VDD. Whereas M6 is trying to take C1 bar towards ground. And we want C1 bar to be equal to VDD so that C1 is equal to 0. In order for that to happen, we have to ensure that M5 should be stronger than M6. When I say stronger, it's W by L of M5 should be greater than W by L of M6. This is just a designing parameter, but the functionality would be achieved. So it's not to worry. And we see that my C1 bar would be equal to 0. That means my C1 would be equal to 1 in the case when generate is high. Similarly, we can go ahead and do it for C2, C3, C4. Remember, we have already implemented the NFET logic implementation. Just draw that as a pull down. Exactly the same circuit becomes your pull up. Just interchange G and P in your pull up network and that becomes your mirror circuit. Hope you have followed. Stay tuned for further clips. Thank you very much and take care.